good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Hi, my name's Tom Swales. Within the video today, you're going to see a little bit of fabrication, you're going to see a little bit of me, a little bit of a couple of my friends, because we are reinstating one of my bikes. Fair bit of the service work. Now, ideally, it probably would need the carbs working on and proofing, so we'll go through that video and see if they do actually need doing. But from my knowledge, it needs battery, it needs oil, it needs fuel, we need to check the fuel system and hear what it sounds like once the exhaust has been done, which I'm super excited for, I can't tell you. The bike isn't going to be raced potentially until 2024. The reason being for that is I just want to enjoy this bike this year on the road, take it to bike meets. I've got a big goal that I want to do. We're going to the bike shed in London, something that I've never been able to do, and I just want the privilege of just riding in there, getting a coffee and just riding out. With me being Tom Swales, you may have seen some of the videos that I've produced over the last 13 years. Original name was R1 Tom Swales, and then the whole Turbo Tom Swales world as well. The reason being is, I've spent over a decade within the wheelie community. I started riding my first R1 when I was 22 at the World Wheelie Championships. I saw an advert in Street Fighters magazine. I remember opening the book and going, whew, wheelie competition. You know, your whole mates and bravado saying, no, you won't do it, you won't do it. Well, I did. 10 years on, I was pretty much doing well. So that R1 got sold, and then it moved on to the next. Then it got super tuned, and then that got retired, and then this other girl that you're going to be seeing in this video came along. So let's discuss a little bit further. I said about a little bit of welding work. Now, I've got to put that in context and actually kind of explain to you what I need to do. You can see here, we've got the headers. We have the turbo, basically turbo manifold as such. Wastegate is not on at the moment because, technically speaking, the wastegate won't actually fit. Now, you may see there is a little bit of a gap on that turbo system there. Now, that should be making that noise. Basically, when I got this put back together, I soon realised that we'd done a little bit of welding on the sump and actually popped something in the wrong place. Yeah, that's why. To get around that, what the major plan is for us is this. We are going to be slitting a little bit of the pipe work here, and we're actually going to be bringing it out. So we're going to turn that 45 and bring it out, because I want to run the full exhaust system. Full exhaust system is here. Now, a lot of people say, why would you want to run a full exhaust system? Like, why bother? I kind of like it with the full exhaust system because for me, on the dyno, this bike gains more mid-range power. Yeah, there's the power of the bike, 280 brake horsepower, and that was at all speeds. Dyno was that. You know, pretty decent to be fair, fuel pressure boost. Unfortunately, this graph doesn't have the torque reading on it. The torque reading was 188 foot-pounds of torque, which is really good. Now, bear in mind, obviously, this engine does have quite a lot of work in it from Roger Upperton and Chris Thorpe from Raven Engineering, so that's the reason why. Yes, we need to do a little bit of tidying up on the wiring. There is some major components here that we are removing. One of my friends who has an electrical company will be doing said work. Now, realistically from here, what I need to do is I need to proof the carburetors. The reason why I say I need to proof the carburetors are these carburetors were proofed, checked, tried and tested, however, last year. Now, ideally, these need to come off and be rechecked because I don't particularly like leaving them. And as you can see, what we need to do is we need to add the tank. Now, the tank is down there. The tank will go on relatively easy, to be fair. What I have to do is I've got to basically do a little bit of AN fitting work, as you can sort of see down here, where I'm pointing. Once the exhaust system is done, I've put oil in the bike and we've made sure there's no catastrophic oil leaks. Not had much luck with this thing regards no oil leaks. And yeah, get the seat on, and then in reality after that, we're talking MOT time. Let's just hope we get a bit of a good spring. But yeah, let's show you some welding. Let's show you some carb work. Let's show you some fun. Cheers, guys. What's going on, guys? All right then, so we're here at K2 Design and Fabrication. What I'm basically doing is here is with Dominic. Dominic's over there, you can see him. The exhaust is going to be coming off in a second. There you go, it's off. This is going to be getting chopped up, hacked about, but however, we're going to have to do something slightly sketchy. The bike is going to have to go up on the welding station. So the bike is now up, so Dominic can start doing his fitting and do what he needs to do. All been cut, all been done here, as you can see. Really, really nice straight cuts there. We're just going to get a deburrer and actually feather that all down and get it so it's pretty nice as that. Then we're going to bring it over and basically just sort of test it. Oh, bummer, you can see how slack that chain is. All right then, so to put some context in, Dominic at the moment is going to offer up the 90 degree. Once the 90 degree is on, we can then get this down pipe and the angle right. I'm going to put the wastegate on as well, and what that does is it gives us the tight angle of what we need, so then Dominic can actually work out the graduation here to come all the way back. What Dominic is going to do as well is we are actually going to put some welding springs on this to actually secure the pipework to make it a little bit more safe as well, which I'm really pleased about. So that's a good modification out of today, what we're going to do. So what we've got at the moment is Dominic has got everything cut. He has actually flatted everything off, which is looking very, very pretty at the moment. As you can see, all the bends are on the bench. We've got some beautiful, beautiful stainless that we're working with at the moment. This is actually his 316 stainless steel.
So what I've done now is I've marked up with a pen where my rotation is on the bike. I've done my weld prep. So that means I've just taken the edge of this corner off ever so slightly on both sides. The reason being is when you start to put the weld in, then it just really flows in nicely. A lot of people don't usually do that, but I feel it makes a lot better weld finish, I'm going to say. So the next plan of attack is tack this in place, double check the fitment on the bike, and then we'll start doing the next bend. What we might do is just not use that wastegate.
The plan, what we've got at the moment is we have actually adapted all this pipe work and we've actually swept it further in. Once this comes down then here, we're then going to come all the way along and keep it nice and tight to the bottom of the frame rail, and then actually bring this up. I like how it actually follows down from the frame. I think that's the nicest part there, and it comes across. Whilst before it was a little bit choppy and changey, wasn't it?
Yeah. The other thing as well is now it's like we've made it parallel, so instead of running a tiny little gap or something to sort of misdemeanor it into place, it is 90 degrees to the engine. So we want it.
So it doesn't take a lot of rotation to actually change the outlet angle of that at all, does it?
No. Right, next thing. We've cut all the 45s. We are trying to line this piece up with the next section, but what you can see here is we haven't got enough bend. What I'm going to have to do is chop up this 90. We just had a measure, wherever my measuring device is, and we need an extra 15 degrees. So that's a 45. We need to get the stainless bend in the cutting fixture and cut a 60, and that will bring us back to straight. Then we'll utilise our slip joint that we've taken off the old exhaust. Which way does it go? That way. So I'll get back to straight, sit that on there. Exhaust springs are going to be here. A little bit of a straight joining them two up. Lovely job.
Spot on.
This is a welding positioner. So pretty much the way that this works, I have a foot pedal down here on my left foot. I press that down, it starts the machine rotating. My hand is in a fixed position. So what I need to do with my right foot here is that's the power that's working from the welder. So I alter the power, I move the left foot to alter to make it spin. This alters speed. Then I feed the welding rod in, and it's as simple as that.
The system has been tacked together. Now, once that's on, we're going to do a test fit. Pretty much, I'm really excited. I mean, it looks so bare when there's nothing on it, but listen, once the system's on, it's going to be so beautiful. What Dominic has done is he's got all the downpipe welded up now. I mean, the welds are absolutely magical all the way along here. what he's doing is now he's doing the up pipe and then welding the tabs. So what we're going to do is we're going to be putting springs on the pipe work just to make this a little bit more ACU compliant and a little bit more realistic, because at the end of the day you should have an exhaust system sprung together, not just balanced, basically, as it has been for quite a long time. Cup of tea, get in there. Got the springs on, well, springs set up there. The bike itself has come back from fabrication. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be attaching an external power source to the bike. Once I've done that, I'm basically going to cycle a couple of things, make sure the clocks come on, go through everything on it, and then I'm going to put a little bit of fuel in it. The reason why I'm going to put fuel in it is to wet the system. I'm not going to be trying to start anything because the bike currently has no oil in it whatsoever. So yeah, I'm going to stick some fuel in the bike now. May as well. Basically, I just want to kind of wet the power system and make sure we are leaking anything, which should be a good thing to know. So we're at the point where I need to power up the electrics. I've made sure that everything is connected. It's not exactly the best of all connections. We just got jump leads down to my test battery that I actually use. Just trying to remember. Now, bear in mind, this is not to start it. All I'm doing is checking for the power to everything, that there's no, basically just turn it on, see if the fuse blows. Now, key is down here. Yes. So we have clocks. Let's check. Yeah, it's in neutral. The engine management light is the oil pressure light. So all that's working there that I need to know. And the thing is, it sweeps as well, which is good, because I know from experience, yeah, that's fine. There's no codes coming up there. Now, do the lights work? Front's working fine. That's spot on, is that? Right, so the electrics generally on that side work. Now, I can't turn it over because there's no oil in it. So the next critical thing for this bike to start this is clear out your oily jug. Stick it right there. And you might spot, yeah, it's in line. Now, the reason for that exactly is, if this bike's been stood for quite a while and the fuel evaporates in the carbs, what happens is it overcomes the floor balls and just absolutely horses out of the bell mouth, which is a bit of a pain. However, we are ready. Fuel tap like that. Like I say, we ain't starting it. There we go, I can hear the fuel pump. Fuel pump is just nestled down the back. I heard a bit of a burp, so it's coming through. There we go, right. So, let's go for it. You can hear everything. You might not be able to hear that, but I can hear the return into the tank, and nothing's coming out of there. I'm just hitting it a few times, basically. I'm just kind of hitting the switch, just a shock. I can't believe it. I'm very, very surprised. I'm actually, I won't say I'm lost for words, but I'm just very surprised. I don't particularly know what to say at this point. I expected a lot of problems. So I haven't actually gone for a very expensive battery at all. I've kind of found with this bike, it doesn't generally need, I have played about with batteries over the years, but at the minute I've just gone for one of these. Normally I'd go for a Yuasa, but that's generally on the road bike. On this, it sits and lives on an Optimate, so do for me. And to be fair, to get this battery in, it's not overly fiddly. It is literally straight in. Once you get your fingers out of the way, done. The next bit I do is this. Now this is the sniff test. And nothing is smoking, nothing's burning. Hang on. I think we're good. The battery is in. I just got the earth to actually tighten up. So once that's in now, what I'm going to do is make sure that the fuel pump is off, which we use the on-off switch here for the fuel pump, and then the run obviously is the kill switch for the bike, as it would be standard Suzuki. So let's see. That's good. Yeah, that battery's a good one. Excellent. So to actually fill this bike up, I won't lie, it is a bit of a pain. We have to strip all the fittings out and move this out of the way. Now I have at the minute, what I do is I actually put a bungee cord here and I just tape it over the bike there and underwater this and then get it in with a funnel. It's not the most expensive motor oil, obviously. But, to be fair, to put it into context, the reason why I use the 51000, that's why did I even say that? No, 5100, which is a semi-synthetic oil. Now, the reason why this is used is only down to research and development. The issue we faced at one point on the bike was that the clutch was sticking, and we assumed clutch plates are gone. So we repacked the clutch, spent quite a fair bit of money on clutch plates, made it worse, legit, a lot worse as well. So when we stripped everything down, we repacked it, we honestly, I must have spent 2 weeks trying to stop it, because you pull the clutch in, wouldn't even work, literally wouldn't work. And in the end, I dropped the oil. I'm certainly not going to name oil brands. I picked up Motul, roughly around about like the 2018 mark, something like that. And I just bunged it in the bike before the dyno. I'd had enough at that point. I was just like, right, send it. I can't fix it, I'm done. And started it up, went into the van, knocked it into neutral straight away. After all that time, the oil that I was using simply just didn't work with my clutch setup. And it literally is as simple as that. Now, that's not to say that if you watching this have a clutch problem, put Motul in. By no means am I suggesting that. My suggestion is trial and error. Just change little things rather than very, very, very expensive things like I did. There's no point in going swimming pool deep end. This is my sight glass. Now, I'm not going to fill it up to the maximum at the moment. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn the engine over and hopefully it doesn't try and fire because the engine's been dry for a little while. Ignition on. Now all we're trying to achieve here is just circling a bit of oil around and then keep topping up, obviously. Oh, did you hear that? That was a bark. That was a bark. So, positively, I'm guessing the oil cooler had a bit of oil in it that I didn't manage to get out because we haven't dropped a lot in level. So, let's proceed. Last litre. Like I say, she's a big old girl of what this bike takes. I think if I had drained the oil cooler fully, I did think I got most of it out when I preserved the bike. In reality, it probably takes about 5.5 to 6 litres. We're just going to kind of just keep an eye on it at this point. We don't need a lot in it. With this bike, to give you an idea, is because of where the turbo is, we don't run a scavenge pump. You don't actually want to overfill the engine because under hard braking, it actually pushes it back up the return line slightly. And then smokes a bit, which is kind of not ideal, to be honest. So now we're kind of at a point. This is where we're at. So we have tried and primed the fuel system once, and we're going to now do it again. Now, because we're not using the external battery, what I need to check is fuel on, ignition on, then fuel pump. You may be able to hear in the tank, nothing coming out. Really pleased with that. So the next piece to this puzzle is the plenum pipe work. Now, it's pretty easy to actually get on, is the plenum pipe work. This bit was made by Jack Frost when he did all the plenum mods for me back in 2019. So the couplers are really easy. I just use Jubilee clips. Now, in the future, I mean, you look at the fitment we have there. We just slide everything down. And yeah, that's that. It's quite relatively easy, but at some point what I do want to do is I want to convert to a coupler from a company called Vibrant. Now, I think Vibrant, they're a stateside company over in America, and they do some pretty good like that you can do. I think they do them on, obviously they do like wastegate stuff, and they definitely do air pipe work, because I've seen them on a couple of YouTube videos. But here, that is. It's relatively simple. This is the reason why I sometimes somewhat think, is there any point in actually welding anything on? But it all comes down straight from the turbo into the plenum. So because of the nature of the bike, one thing you have to do, which is quite important, is you have to use a temperature gun when you're firing this thing up. Reason being is so you can see that all cylinders are working. I've had it in the past where one cylinder wasn't working. Because how loud the bike is, it is sometimes a little bit hard to tell. So we'll check it now. Bike's cold, where you can touch the headers, it's freezing. But yeah, all I do is I just check everything. I go through it. Everything's same temperature, obviously, because it hasn't been run yet. And yeah. I think we're going to need a bit of choke. You saw the bit of smoke, so there was a bit of residual in the boards, I think, but you can feel that's not bad. We're on full choke at the moment. Fuel pump is not on, so we'll put the fuel pump on. It could cut out, I don't know yet. Whilst we're talking, really important, like I say, it's very hard to gauge with this thing. What would be helpful is like exhaust temperature sensors. Sounds really quite relatively healthy actually. So we're now on idle. It's a little bit low, the idle. I'm going to up it slightly once the engine's warm. You can see it's burning everything off now. But I think, guys, that's really successful. I'm really happy. Feels quite emotional almost in a way, because I didn't have much planned for this bike. I was going to mothball it, but plans change, eh? So guys, that pretty much wraps it up. The street hates me, my neighbours hate me, I've created more noise than I think I've ever done before, blasting it on the rev limiter. So anyway, on to the next part of the bike. We've got to do a bit of paint. Now, if you are interested in seeing any more with this, leave a little like and a comment on the video. Let's see what you as a viewer wants to see as well. That'd be exciting to see. But yeah, blast it down in the comments.